Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Bourges, France. This is the FIBA Women's Olympic Qualifying Tournament. It is the group phase game between Brazil and France. And as you can tell, this place is hopping, flag waving, ecstatic. The French women's national team is back on home soil. And tonight, with a win against Brazil, France will qualify for the 2020 Olympics. We just watched Australia open up a big lead on Puerto Rico and pull away for a 174 win. Puerto Rico beat Brazil, upset Brazil on opening night. So Brazil really need to come out and try to do something special against the French tonight, who are flying high after their big win on opening night against Australia. So the standings following tonight's earlier games, Australia and Puerto Rico up at the top, but of course, France, if they get a win tonight, they will go back in first place. If they do not, we'll have all four teams at 1-1 in this qualifying tournament. I'm Jeff Taylor, joined by Shona Thorburn. And Shona, real quickly, it's there's just a real buzz in the arena tonight, and for good reason.
Yeah, you're right. I think everyone knows here that if France can pull off the win, they have booked their ticket to Tokyo 2020 Olympics. So there's a lot riding on this game, but they got to go through a Brazilian team that are not going to go down without a fight.
Well, good evening and welcome to Bourges, France. This is the FIBA Women's Olympic Qualifying Tournament, and the game is between France and Brazil. France winning on opening night, beating Australia. They have a chance to book their ticket for the Olympics tonight. That'll be the Olympics in Tokyo. This Brazil team obviously coming off a tough loss to Puerto Rico in the first game of this FIBA Women's Olympic Qualifying Tournament. They need a win. They need to get it going tonight, and they're going to have to pull some type of upset, really, against the number 5 team in the FIBA rankings, which France most assuredly are.
Yeah, I mean, especially with their win against Australia, France has kind of set the tone. But Brazil, I mean, talk about a team and a federation that has a lot of history. Brazil have been in the consecutive Olympics since '92, Jeff, so they know how to get it done. They know what it takes. Yeah, they've dropped off a little bit, but there are still some players who have a lot of Olympic experience on this Brazilian squad.
Yes, they are. You know, for long stretches of that game, we thought they were going to get the win, but Puerto Rico just never went away, and eventually came back, forced overtime, and then won it in overtime. But you know what? If you're going to be a great team, you've got to be able to win in adversity, and we'll see how Brazil cope with that tonight against a French team that, well, yes, they beat Australia. Yes, they were impressive, but were they invincible? No. I mean, they also have a lot of young players. They're still trying to find their feet in many respects. They want to be a lot better by the time they get to Japan for the Olympics. So this is an important game for them. And maybe most important of all, it's just another great opportunity for the fans here in one of the real heartlands of basketball in France to be able to see their national team in action.
You named it, Jeff. I mean, Bourges basketball is known in Europe, so there's no surprise that this is a packed house here tonight.
Well, this is always one of the great moments to hear the national anthems for both of these national teams, both these countries, and we're going to start with Brazil. The crowd is roaring in Bourges, and for good reason. That national anthem just always gets you, doesn't it? It's incredible to hear the French national anthem. Jose Neto, Valerie Garnier, opposing each other. Also the players, a lot of them know each other, having played in France or faced off in international competition, or even in competitions like the EuroLeague Women. Referees for tonight are lined up and ready to go. And you'll see Yu Young from Chinese Taipei, Maripia Malo, and Zhao Shang. And good evening, folks. Again, welcome to Bourges. This is the FIBA Women's Basketball Olympic Qualifying Tournament. The game between France and Brazil for France. Well, we have to talk about Gruda. She really helped set the tone the other night. And Bria Hartley. Those two were a handful for Australia, and I think they're going to come out strong again tonight. They're both in the starting five, along with Val Vukosavljevic, former Val Ayayi, Indi Miem, and Olivia Pupa.
And there you see Bria Hartley's numbers from the last game. 13 points, 6 of 11 shooting, 7 rebounds, and almost 8 assists. I mean, we were saying it's almost a triple-double. But more than that, I thought when France needed energy, that's who brought it. And she really got that French team moving, especially in the second half.
And for Brazil, we have to talk about Patty Teixeira, who was outstanding, and Damaris Dantas. Those two. Erica de Souza, for a long stretch, also played exceptionally well. So you got Patty Teixeira, Taina Pachau, Damaris Dantas, de Souza, and Deborah Costa in the starting five. And Dantas was just a double-double machine. I think, if anything, she probably got a little bit tired the other night, but yeah, you can understand why. Look at that, 26 points on 9 of 14 shooting and 15 rebounds.
Yeah, she was absolutely incredible for them, and she's going to have to step up and play a big game again for them if they want to advance. And they have to win this game. Let's be honest, they have to win.
So you got Jose Neto. Hoping to engineer a recovery, and Valerie Garnier. She's been at the helm for quite a while now.
A longtime assistant of Pierre Vincent.
Former coach of Bourges.
Former coach of Bourges. She took over for Pierre after the 2013 FIBA Women's Eurobasket. And she's done a good job with them. I think, you know, maybe a couple disappointing finishes in the Worlds. I think they thought they had an opportunity to medal in Rio, but the ball just didn't fall their way. I like how they played. I really like how they played the other night. It's the team that's capable of getting out and running, having everyone contribute, and that's what we really saw from them.
So France will secure an Olympic ticket with a win. And they would also Well, no, this is now no longer possible since Puerto Rico lost. So they need to get the win tonight to punch their ticket, obviously, or we will have 4 1-1 teams, which for the objective basketball fan, that would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? So you see both teams getting ready here right for the start of the game, and the fans certainly excited. The French always do follow their national team, even at the big tournaments. They go, and it's a great supporting cast. Always a good tournament when you come to France to watch a basketball game.
Yeah, it is. You and I talked about that earlier today, how they're kind of used to putting on these big tournaments, and people show up to watch them. They're you know, proud French who also like to support their athletes. Same thing in football. You saw the streets crowded when France came up with that historic World Cup, their third.
We are underway. Welcome, folks, to Bourges, France, the FIBA Women's Olympic Qualifying Tournament, and the game between 1-0 France and 0-1 Brazil. Brazil winning the opening tip, wearing the yellow and green, attacking the basket to the left on the screen, and the pass from Costa goes out of bounds, intended for Patty Teixeira. Sandrine Gruda was just amazing the other night against Liz Cambage. Apupa comes out and hits a 3.
And that's kind of the defense and the shot that you want to give up if you're Brazil. You know, get the ball out of Gruda's hands, but a great job by Apupa knocking down the shot early. And then what she is known for is defense, and she does a good job drawing the offensive foul.
From Dantas, who just kind of slid into her a little bit. Did not establish position. Now Bria Hartley. And De Souza authoritatively brings that rebound down. Did not start the other night, did she?
No, she didn't. Jazz started for them. I'm not surprised that she's starting. If you consider the head-to-head battles that De Souza and Gruda have had against each other, oh, beautiful pass.
It was
and a
indeed.
Nice finish.
So De Souza gets her first 2, and Costa knocks it out of Apupa's hands, and now De Souza knocks it out of Gruda's hands, but she gets it back, and then the pump faking goes up and scores.
It would be interesting to see the head-to-head battle between Gruda and De Souza over the years. Two players who have shown up almost every summer to represent their teams.
And Deborah Costa launches it. And Apupa with the rebound. Quick outlet. Bria Hartley, now Vukosavljevic, and drives in, dumps it off to Indy Miam.
You can't really ask for a better start from France. They're up 2-7, and 3 people have already scored for this French team.
The explosive Patty Teixeira spins, goes in. Boy, that was a tough finish.
Yeah, that was. I think you might have even been able to call a foul on Hartley there. I think she did a good job kind of using her body a little bit to get some distance between the defender.
Vukosavljevic, Gruda, rebound. She's going to get the double digits tonight if the early going is any indication. Her second basket. Teixeira drives in, lays it up and in.
And you know, it kind of took Teixeira, I would say, a half to get comfortable in the first game against Puerto Rico. She really stepped up and came out aggressive for them more in that second half, especially the fourth quarter. and overtime. But I like what she's doing here tonight. She's being more aggressive from the get-go, and that's what they need from her if they want to win.
And Vukosavljevic picks up the foul. Costa crosses midcourt. Pachau, they need her to get going. Vukosavljevic doing a good job on her. Look at her, she's denying her the ball. She finally gets it, 10 on the shot clock. Pachau into the paint, but a little bit crazy with the shot. De Souza follows it up and misses. Good patience by Gruda to get it to Hartley. She doesn't wait, and she hits it again. She is playing so well. She might be playing arguably her best basketball.
We talked about that this summer at Eurobasket Women. She was one of the All-Star 5. I said it's probably the best tournament I have seen her play in quite a while. So at 32 years old, look at this. For her to be still playing at the level that she is playing at is absolutely incredible.
And just the chaos that that defense creates leads to the De Souza turnover. Well, Brazil would have known what it was going to be like in terms of the atmosphere. And it is loud in Bourges right now, folks. The French, they can taste it. Gruda, yet again. Boy, the game is only 4.5 minutes old, and Gruda has already got 8 points.
She did have a double-double the other night, 16 points and 11 rebounds, and I think she might surpass that.
And a couple of blocks on Cambage as well. Dantas. And now Costa asked the ref to stop the game, but it goes on. Good hands from Pachau. And I think she's going to have to go out. You can see Jose Neto asking the referee why play was not stopped.
So I think you saw, I just saw Dantas kind of signal to the bench that I think she got poked in the eye, Jeff.
They could have stopped it if they wanted. But the play was active and they let it run.
And it was France's ball. That's
right.
The issue. If you're in a scoring opportunity, they can't. If it's kind of a slower, if France hadn't pushed it and just waited, I think they would have stopped. I think that's the rule. But if France are in a scoring, actually, it worked out better for Brazil because they ended up turning the ball over.
Yeah, she definitely got it in the eye. So coming in place of Costa is Gonzalo, excuse me. Chow for 3, and what a great box out by Miam, and the ball up ahead to it. Pupa. Vukosavljevic fouled by Pachau.
And you hear the French fans, I think they wanted a unsportsmanlike foul. They were kind of trying to say she didn't make a play on the ball, but from that angle, she did initially. There was just a lot of contact with it.
Marine Johannes in, but it's Gruda once again. 10 points. And the game just a little over 5 minutes old. We saw the couple of great performances in that first game with Cambage and Guafni, and now Gruda is off to a flyer. Timeout. Look at the shooting for France. 6 of 7 inside the arc, 1 of 2 from deep. Brazil have not stopped them.
It helps when you have one of your star players shooting 5 for 5, 10 points already.
So it's got to be a little bit more effort defensively. They got to get on the same page, Brazil, or they might get run out of this gym very early. That said, it's not often that you see France really
put away a team.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? You also don't really see them come out with this kind of a. So that's actually the French Minister of Sport, the woman to the left, with her 10-point. Yes, with the president of the FFBB, Jean-Pierre, and then the French Minister of Sport,
Roxana. You tell me.
Maracineanu. Oh, we just butchered that. I'm sorry. So you know how big this game is when you have the Minister of Sport in attendance.
And Pachau turns it over. Great defense by Endemium. You know, France, as you see, Pachau, so much experience. Okay, they brought in some new blood, but they've also got a lot of experience from Rio, and even before that, from London, those 2 Olympic Games.
Yeah, I mean, in Rio, let's talk about that.
Johannes! Let's talk about Johannes, because she was in Rio.
You know, I think Brazil were very, very disappointed with their performance in Brazil. They didn't win a game, and that's not something that you want to think about, especially when you're hosting the Olympics.
Now the ball goes over the head of Ramona. And remember, Brazil under real pressure tonight, having lost to Puerto Rico in an upset on opening night. They already facing a 12-point deficit.
They have 4 turnovers in this quarter, and there's still 4 minutes left. But I think we have to talk about France's defense. France did a good job defensively against Australia. And I would say Australia have a few more offensive weapons maybe than Brazil does right now.
France get it to Johannes once again. This time she goes off 1 foot a la Marcelino Huertas and misses. Dantas. And Johannes playing defense. Pachau leans into it.
And just a great job defensively by France on that possession. They are making everything difficult for this Brazilian team. I don't think they've really had a great open look other than maybe that 2 points by De Souza early in the game. Second possession, I think it was.
Charteroux in the game, being guarded by Dantas. Brazil trying to pick up the defense some, the physicality. Here's Charteroux into the corner to Johannes. This time a little short.
I think they got lucky there. That's not someone who you want to leave open for a wide open shot.
Pachau goes right at Hartley, but misses the layup. Chachuan in the game, gets it to Charteroux. Charteroux goes in and misses. Dantas. The game really being played at a fast pace. Now Brazil hold it up. Gonzalo over to Montero, and she gets the bump from Endemium.
And you know, this isn't the same Brazilian team that we have seen the last few years. They are missing Clarissa dos Santos, who has been a staple of the program for many years. Nadia Collado, who are both out with injuries. And I think it's really affecting this Brazilian team. You know, those are 2 players who you can rely on offensively and defensively. And right now, Dantas has 0 points.
And by this time last night, she probably already had 10.
You know, she's only attempted 1 shot.
And that's all about France's defense. Montero only makes 1 of 2. Brazil just trying to get out of this first quarter alive. They're trailing by 11 points. Mia for 3, good! And France keep piling on the pressure. Brazil, are they gonna cave in? Dantas gets in the lane and is fouled by Chachuan. So 14-point advantage, the biggest of the game for France. And boy, that was quite a foul. Are they gonna look at that? No.
No, I mean, I think she was making a play on the ball. Yeah, it was an aggressive, hard foul, but it was also a play on the ball.
No, Dantas struggling at the line. Brazil just 1 of 3 at the free throw line. So Dantas, there's Cathy Malan, the longtime France international and former Bourges star. Yannick Souvray here in the house tonight. So many former France players, also with Bourges connections.
There are a lot of French players who have Bourges connections some point during their career.
Now offensive foul on Siak. The big center just into the game, picks up the personal. Brazil used to really rule women's basketball in the world. And they're really trying to get back to that point where they are a big-time team. But with passes like that, they're not going to get there. That needs to be a bounce pass.
And you know, when you're kind of overpressuring so much on defense, you also have to be able to backdoor cut aggressively and sort of break that pressure.
Costa back in the game, launches it, good! Excuse me, that was Gonzalo. Gonzalo and Costa look pretty similar, the way they've got their hair. Apologies, and Bria Hartley had the ball knocked out of her hand. She goes back to get it. Brazil trying to pick it up defensively. Chartereau, though, catches it down low. And Brazil survive.
And that, for me, was a good defensive possession by Brazil. They were a little bit more aggressive. They made things difficult for France.
Pacheco comes in and drills it on the baseline. Finally, a little bit of hope for Brazil. They get it down to 8 points, the deficit. Hartley gives it back to Johannes. Oh, beautiful pass. And I suppose Ramona will be more than happy to give away that foul, try to make Chartereau earn it at the line.
She did actually have a lot of ball on the play.
Wow.
It was kind of the after effect, because she did have a lot of ball. Again, you know, I think if she had just been in a little bit better help position, she might have been able to get a hand on it before Chartereau was able to catch it.
Yeah. Only makes 1 of 2. So Ramona, Montero, got a 8-second differential on the game clock and the shot clock. So France should get it back. Pacheco banks it in.
You know, she just hit one possession before, so why not?
Pacheco, an X factor. Not sure we expected that. Hartley has it knocked out of her hands. Good defense. And it's the Brazil reserves that are carrying the day. Ramona was not able to get it off in time. Perhaps did not recognize it. A nice little recovery there by Brazil, who trailed by 14, and they cut it back to 7. They trailed 22-15 at the end of 1.
So
3 of 5 from deep. Just 1 for Brazil, but Brazil shooting the ball better now. Look at that.
Yeah.
5 of 10, France 6 of 10 from inside the arc. It's France leading it by 7. Well, Sandrine Gruda started excellent tonight. She gets the assist, giving it over to Epupa. And then she just got into her stride and started scoring at will. De Souza did give early hope to Brazil, but that was it for her.
Yeah, and really, if you think about it, I mean, Gruda played a little over 5.5 minutes in that first quarter, and then she went to the bench for a well-deserved breather. But that's kind of where you saw Brazil start to come back a little bit. For Brazil to only be down 7 points, Jeff, at one point, France was up 14, and I thought they were just going to run away with it.
Yeah. It did not look good for the Brazilians. 3-pointers were flying in, including this one from Indy Miem. So, again, yeah, but we said the same thing 2 nights ago with Australia, that, you know, they kept staying within touch, but they'd get several points behind, and then it seemed like Gruda would be reinserted into the game, and all of a sudden the lead would open up again. So how long might it be before we see Valerie Garnier bring Gruda back?
You know, I really think if Brazil are able to get a couple stops in a row and maybe a couple made baskets, there you see Coach Sandy Brondello, head coach of Australia, obviously staying here, scouting this game because they know that they have to win again tomorrow, and they will be playing Brazil.
Of course, she was watching it with Olaf Long as well, her husband, an assistant coach.
Talk about a basketball-minded family.
Maybe they have a rule where they don't talk about basketball at home. Oh, great defense once again as the second quarter picks right up where the first quarter ended for Brazil. And Gonzalo misses from deep. Look at the pressure applied by Ramona on Bria Hartley.
But you know what? That's the kind of pressure you need to do if you want to try and win this game. But good job by France there, breaking the pressure, and Deandra Chachong kind of on the receiving end of that helter-skelter defense, and just an easy 2 points for her.
Montero gets to the paint, but puts it way up off the glass, maybe too high. And again, Bria Hartley whips it into Charteroux. The ball knocked out of her hands. Gias, she's got a nice release from mid-range, and Garnier has seen enough. She wants to call a timeout. And I really do think we'll see Gruda come back.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they won't spend too much more time with Gruda not being on the court.
Rebounding pretty even. So Brazil, I have to say, I mean, I'm impressed how they've really dug in defensively here in the last few minutes.
Yeah, you know, France came out, and I would say the first 6 minutes played excellent. They shared the ball. Gruda was phenomenal. And that can be really deflating as the opposing team. And a lot of times you can kind of see, even if it's early in the game, some players and some teams just sort of put their head down and say, okay, maybe that's it. But I think Brazil have done a great job of regrouping, and they've come out and they've played a lot more aggressive, especially defensively. And offensively, they're not really taking any hesitations. I thought at the beginning of the game, they were hesitant and a little maybe intimidated by the French defense. So there you see Elodie Godin, Isa Yakubu, and that's actually Marissa Coleman on the left enjoying the dance party. 3 players who play in Borage at this moment.
So back to live action. Siak, Charteroux, the same player is still in. Bria Hartley. And France cooling off. And again, this positive attitude, especially it's the energy. You just feel it with Brazil. Montero shaking and baking. Good box out by Chachuan with Pacheco breathing down her neck. Chachuan has it knocked out of her hands. Great defense by Pacheco. Pacheco gets a hand up, and I tell you, they're making France uncomfortable.
Yeah, they are, but they've also stepped it up defensively, and Brazil's able to do that. They actually have some length, height, athletic ability at the guard position.
Ramona misses from deep. It's interesting that with Brazil, the 5 players on the floor right now are not the players that you talk about in the build-up to the game.
But they're the ones who came off the bench and brought energy, and that's what Brazil needs right now.
Hartley finds some space, puts it up. And again, Pacheco didn't rebound it. She tried to bat it to Montero, but it went to France. Now Siak turns and banks it in. Well, Siak should make that shot every time.
Yeah.
She's going to be that close. Stylo. And ball turned over. Bria Hartley looks to get it to Johannes. Then they kind of force Hartley kind of towards the corner and then foul. And that's going to bring Patty Teixeira back into the game. Here it is again. Pacheco, they were going for the trap. I don't know why Gonzalo didn't just ride her down into the corner. So Charteroux goes out. Chachuan goes out, Hartley goes out, Sarah Michelle, Sandrine Gruda, and, oh no, Bria Hartley stays in the game. So it's Gruda and Sarah Michelle coming back into the game. In fact, I think this might be Sarah Michelle's first minutes. It is indeed. Right, great play by Ramona, the energy in the defense. That is what's bringing this Brazil team back. Montero pump fake. Oh, tried to hand it off, and how good is Gruda? She knew the pass was coming. She took it right away, and now it's Hartley. Siak sets the pick, and Ramona called for the foul. I thought Siak did a great job of, I mean, really, Hartley needs to perhaps think twice about passing it to Siak at full gate. So Hartley goes out, and Ipupa comes back in. Just
inside the three-point line when she's, you know, you always tell your post players, too, run hard, head on the rim. But you want to let them get settled once they get there and then give them a good pass, where I agree with you. I think you're putting your post players kind of in a situation where they might turn the ball over just by traveling. They're also not expecting that.
Laís da Silva is now in the game, as well as Carolina Oliveira. Johannes, she's got the space. And Teixeira with the rebound.
I was just going to say, already Brazil are going to their bench, where we didn't see that the other day against Puerto Rico, but these bench players are getting some minutes, and they're doing a good job bringing a lot of energy.
And now Dantas is back as well, so maybe she can start providing the points. Here she is. Tough shot, and it's good. So Dantas, the player that had that humongous double-double 2 nights ago. First basket of the game. And you can see Teixeira also picking it up, and that was a clear push. So Carolina called for the foul, and they will inbound it.
Brazil playing a little 2-3 zone on the out of bounds here.
Johannes, fancy bounce pass. Gruda. I mean, she really takes your breath away. She's automatic. Sandrine Automatic Gruda. 12 points, 6 of 6 from the floor. Lais da Silva. Dantas open.
Ooh. I'm not sure she can do that. You can't save the ball, step out of bounds, and then actually touch the ball again. So I think the refs missed a out of bounds call. And it was right in front of us, so that's why you know, we had the advantage of seeing what happens.
Well, it's been tough for France, but they seem to be weathering the storm now with Gruda back on the court. They're up 9. Oh, Johannes struggling from the floor. She's 1 of 5. She hit that 1-3, but Gruda, no chance. Automatic hits again. 7 of 7.
You know, throughout the years, I think France has definitely had some special players, and, you know, let's not forget the ones that came before, kind of this generation, the generation before Celine Dumeric. But Gruda's got to go down in history as one of the best French players of all time, I think.
That's not even up for debate. She's incredible. And the drive and Pupa. So that leads to a timeout by Brazil, with France leading it 32-21. 4 minutes and 1 second remaining in the first half.
Fazemos 2 lados para Alana, tá bom? Alana e a Laís, tá? Vem. Alana, tá vomitando. Vem, Ramona, com você.
There you see second chance points, 0 for Brazil, while I think Sandrine Gruda has 6.
Sai pro lado da Carol. Eu quero que a Damires venha fazer esse bloqueio aqui. Passa a bola, Laís. Ela pra cá, vem pra cá. Quero esse bloqueio. Elas estão fazendo um show. Vem, faz um pop-out. Vamos ver se eles conseguem colocar a bola aqui. Tá bom? Aí você escolhe se quer chutar ou quer cortar. Tá bom? Carol, depois ela sair, você vem aqui, ó.
So remember what Shona said, Brazil, since 1992, they've been at every Olympics, and that is in real jeopardy, especially coming into this game tonight. France, we know, with a win, they will book their place at the Tokyo Games. And the problem for Brazil is they've dug themselves an early hole, unlike the opening night against Puerto Rico. You see Clarissa, they're without her. They could desperately use her.
Yeah.
But they weren't able to press on that advantage against Puerto Rico and lost in overtime. But tonight, they've trailed by double digits. And right now, it's an 11-point lead for France. Dantas.
Oh,
boy,
wow.
that is about as tough a shot. I mean, she had to get herself in a position, and Gruda still got her hand up in her face, and she still made it. Vukosavljevic goes back to her left, goes under. Wow, that was pretty outstanding.
Again, two excellent offensive plays by either team. Kind of, you can't do much more on defense. That's just better offense.
Teixeira launches it. She almost forced that one. And now the defense is being applied by France. Siak gets in, stays with it. Rebound to Teixeira, and then Pupa takes it right away from her. Dangerous proposition to put the ball on the floor with Pupa nearby.
Yeah.
Michelle to Siak. Boy, that was great basketball.
You know, I thought Siak maybe kind of forced her first layup there, the little reverse she did. She did draw 2 defenders, so obviously someone was open in that case. But that right there, her last 2 points, she has 4 points on the night, 2 for 3. Siak, she just caught the ball and went strong. There's nothing defensively you can really do other than try and be between her and the basket. But when you catch, you're that height and you move with that kind of speed, it's very difficult.
De Silva, fouled by Apupa. I think Apupa thought she was going to be off to the races, and the next thing that she knew, she was head-on collision. Patty Teixeira with the inbounds. De Silva open, nope, misses it badly. But the ball falls to De Souza, and then Patty Teixeira, the opportunistic Patty Teixeira, the right place at the right time. Teixeira guarding Michelle, trying to get in her way.
I think there was an off-ball screen.
Yes, it was. Called by the Canadian referee, Maripier.
A little moving off-ball screen on Gruda.
That's the first thing that she's not done right tonight. Lays De Silva, bounce pass to Souza! Oh, and she doesn't make the shot. She had a 3-point play opportunity. She knows it. Jose Neto knows it. Charteroux back in the game. One thing about Charteroux, while we have a moment, I see her as more of kind of a stretch big.
Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah.
And didn't look quite as comfortable down low.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if Valerie Garnier is really trying to get her to play down low, or is she just ending up down there somehow?
I mean, when you play with Gruda, who's also kind of has that great 2-point shot just inside the 3-point line, you can't play 5-out basketball, right? So you need someone inside.
Potential 3-point play turns into a 0-point play for Brazil. That hurts. Oh, the ball goes behind. Here's Patty Teixeira. She's everywhere. She's got it. She launches it off the back of the cup.
And that was the kind of shot 2 nights ago.
She was nailing it.
She was. And they need to get her going. I know she has already 6 points, but her points have kind of been opportunistic points, like you said. She's kind of hanging around, sort of, you know, gets the ball at the last second. That's why she's open. But her outside shooting, I think this Brazilian team needs to start knock down some outside shots.
Well, timeout on the floor. 11-point lead for France. I mean, Brazil down 11. They've hit 1 3-pointer from 9 attempts. 10 of 19 inside the arc. And if you think about it, why are they 1 of 9? Because France, in my opinion, kind of set that tone early defensively, made them uncomfortable, and they just haven't allowed them to find any comfort level. I mean, now they've you know, even when they're open, they're not hitting them.
Yeah, I think offensively, Brazil have taken care of the ball a little bit better. They had 6 turnovers in that first quarter, Jeff. Now they only have 2. There's a minute left, so a minute 15, 16 left. So obviously they could still turn the ball over, but they've taken care of the ball. I'm not sure I think France is still playing good defense, but I think Brazil are just maybe playing with a little bit more aggressiveness. They're attacking the basket. They're shooting the ball with a little bit more confidence. Even if it doesn't go in, they're not hesitating.
But De Souza's really got to raise her game because she's in there for a reason. It's to get those good high percentage shots and the rebounds. Lais de Silva with a beautiful drive.
That's what I'm talking about. They're going to the basket aggressive. You know, if not, they're not making it. They're trying to draw a foul.
It's the high energy team back out on the court with the exception of De Souza. Ramona back out there, Montero out there as well. Oh boy, Gruda saw the opening, and De Souza.
But I mean, you're asking a woman who was born in 1982, played in the WNBA in 2002 with Lisa Leslie. So just to name how long she has been around and playing at such a high level, she is turning 38 years old this year. For her to still be competing and being such a big part of this team, I think is just exceptional.
Yeah, it is. But some of us have been around even longer than that, Jonah. So easy.
Not
easy.
playing basketball, though.
Final 15 seconds. 4-second differential in the game clock, in shot clock. Charteroux passes it. Uh-oh, Gruda.
She's human.
Quickly, they don't have much time. Lais de Silva and puts herself into a spin cycle and falls down. So France haven't run away with it, but they built that lead. They're now on top by 11, and Brazil with a lot of work to do, trailing 38-27 at halftime.
And here you see the stats. Brazil doing a much better job shooting the ball compared to their first few minutes of this game. 61%, thanks to more or less Gruda. Rebounds, France has a 4-point edge. Assists, look at that, 13 assists to just 3 for Brazil. Brazil doing a good job defensively with 5 steals. Gruda, 16 points. I mean, for me, she's just been absolutely exceptional. I think Brazil needs to go into the halftime and figure out a way to just slow her down a little bit. You know she's going to score because she's talented, but how can you slow her down?
Well, you can start praying. That might be a start. But Brazil losing on opening night to Puerto Rico. They cannot afford to drop to 0-2 tonight. And meanwhile, Puerto Rico, despite the loss, they've got that priceless win.
Yeah.
And France, meanwhile, if they can hold on and get the win, there's going to be a huge party in here tonight because they will qualify for the Olympics. So we're at halftime. We'll be right back before the start of the second half. France leading at 38-27 over Brazil at the Palais des Sports do Prado. Gibson's open. Foul by Charlie Attorney. Are you kidding me? Allie Gibson has had the second half of her life.
Good defense there.
What a rejection there by Togashi. See the replay here. The good help coming over and just swatting that away.
great. Yeah, he's good pass to Wilson. And Sue Bird was the first off the bench to get up and congratulate that play.
Sean White hit from the top of the key. Now she probes. Driving in, she's rejected. And that will get the crowd involved.
Sandrine Gruda with 16 points, 8 of 9 from the floor, 4 rebounds. I mean, she was near perfect tonight in that first half. And again, setting the tone for France in these big, important games. France, if they win tonight, they qualify for the Olympics. Olivia Pupa as well, doing her best with 5 points, 3 rebounds, a couple assists, plenty of energy. France had that great first quarter, that great first 5.5 minutes. They opened up a 14-point lead. Brazil did a great job of cutting it back to a 7-point deficit. Brought a lot of energy off the bench, playing defense, and have given themselves a shot. But France, again, pulled back in front by 11. Patty Teixeira, she's got 6 points. She had a great game offensively the other night against Puerto Rico, and they will need her to also have a big second half if Brazil are going to do it. But, you know, it has to be a worrying sight for Jose Neto to see his team cut that deficit from 14 down to 7, expending all that energy with the likes of Alana Gonzalo, who's got 5 points and assists, only to then see France pull back in front by 11 points.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, really, it started with defense for them. They became a lot more. He went to the bench, and they brought this kind of energy and tenacity on defense, which led to some easier baskets on offense for them. But like you said, they've already used a lot of energy in this first 20 minutes. But you also have a player in Dantas who has been held to 5 points.
On your team's performance so far?
Oh, we need to play defense better. I think the defense 1-1, and help side need to help more. So, and offense I think is good. 12 points more than them. So I think it's good. I like this game.
Well, 11 points at halftime in basketball isn't much. What will be important for your players to get the confidence back to start the third quarter and close that gap?
Yeah, it's more important than the score. I think it's how like we play. So I like how we play. So now we need to play best defense, and we can play in a short score.
Good luck with that. Well, just like the other day, France had a very strong start. What are your impressions after the first half?
It's necessary now for us to hold the one-on-one of the Brazil. Okay, and after in offense we have to alternate better inside, outside. Voilà, just play basketball.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, there you heard it, Jeff. I mean, Brazil coach not too disappointed, but knows that they need to do a better job defensively. Garnier talking about being able to hold one-on-one. I thought Brazil were able to get to the basket and attack. It's true, one-on-one, but they are quick, they are long, they are athletic. But at the next level, you got to be able to stop that individually and then as a team on defense.
Well, you think back to those reserves coming off, you're wondering if they're going to have the same capacity to play that defense. I think they will be. the bench players. They look like players that they could run all night. You know, Pacheco. So I do think the opportunity is still there for Brazil, but I mean, it's cliche and basketball talk, but that first 5 minutes of the third quarter is going to be crucial.
Yeah, it is. You've been around basketball a lot. I've been around basketball a lot. We've seen it happen, but you have to keep in mind, France is playing in front of 5,000 fans who are going to be cheering them. You can feed off of that when your energy starts to go down. And I think that's what France is going to rely on.
They're going to rely on that, and they're going to rely on their veterans.
Sandrine Gruda, she already has 16 points. Why not run plays for her until they can prove that they can stop her?
Second half action underway. France leading at 38-27 over Brazil. Brazil starting with possession. Teixeira takes on Gruda and does not live to tail the tail. She does it on offense. She does it on defense. She does it all.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, offensively, defensively, we saw it the other night against Australia. She does everything that you need her to do. She's not just an offensive threat. Defensively, she was great. We saw her do a decent job against one of the best offensive players in Liz Cambage for Australia the other night.
Yeah, she just did not back down. She is supremely focused, Sandrine Gruda, perhaps as at any point in her career. And not only focused, but confident.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, France missed, so another chance to get the deficit back to single digits. De Souza gets down low, and this time really
shows you what she can do, right? I mean, and you're kind of wondering why she doesn't try and do that every single time down the floor.
Gruda going up against De Souza.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I think the letters MVP come to mind right now. I mean, it's just not even close.
Yeah.
She is so much better than everybody on the court.
And you know,
points.
I think she has dealt with some injuries throughout her career. I think she's relatively healthy right now, and you can really see it in her play. You saw it this summer at the Women's FIBA Eurobasket, and you're seeing it here today. Again, Dantas can just not really get anything going.
And Pupa, well, just lost control of the ball as she kind of ran into traffic. But Chow, Dantas trying to post up Indy Miam. And they called the foul on Indy Miam. Well, that's usually going to go the offensive player's way, I would think. Watch this.
Yeah, you know, I know Indy's trying to do a good job of getting around at least three-quarter defense, but she is pushing her arms down, and I think it's a pretty good call. And it's an easy call for the ref because the ref's right underneath the basket there.
So Miam goes to the bench. It's only her second foul.
The ref was, I think, are trying to discuss who so yeah, you said Indy Miam So it's Andy Miem's third foul. I think they actually gave it to De Souza at first.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been a bad one. Good spot by the Brazilian bench to quiz that one. So that's why she went out of the game with her third foul. Now Dantas banks it in. And I'll tell you what, she did well there. She took some contacts.
She did, and you know, that's clearly a shot that she's worked on and has in her repertoire, because we saw her go to it a lot the other day against Puerto Rico.
Charteroux, that's more her game, but it rims out, and then instead of rebounding it, Pachau knocks it out of bounds.
And you saw Gruda, as soon as she put up that shot, I was looking at it too. Gruda had great position underneath the basket. She had a mismatch.
She
and
just rebounded.
Charteroux needed to pass to her.
Johannes Apupa. Boy, they're really working Apupa tonight with that jump shot. Not necessarily a bad thing to get some confidence in it. If she adds that to her repertoire, she will be dangerous in Tokyo. Oh, great rebound. De Souza, but doesn't follow well. And Brazil fortunate to get the ball back. Teixeira again. To Costa. Can Costa score this time? Yes, she can. Well, they were desperate to get a finish. And the swiping motion, I think, from Charteroux got her the foul.
Yeah, she might have had a lot of ball. It's one of those where I'm not sure she would have finished that. I think she finished it because Charteroux got a hand on it. Maybe you kind of, and that's her second foul. You have Andy Miem already on the bench with 3 fouls.
Well, this is as close as they've been since they were down 14. They've cut it to 6 points. Clarissa trying to get her team to keep this intensity up. Now Gias is going to come in for Dantas.
That foul's going to be on Teixeira for Brazil. Only her first.
Good catch by Apupa. Looked like that was coming to us. That pass. Vukosavljevic, it's online, but a little short. But Gruda almost had the rebound. It turns out Brazil gets a break. And Pachau goes in and scores. And they've cut it to 4 points. And Garnier has the goal timeout for France.
And what a great drive by Pachau. I'm not sure she knew, but Charteroux already has 2 fouls. Andy Miem's on the bench with 3. Take it hard. She's not going to foul you, and that's what she did.
France called timeout, leading it 40-36.
There you see the assist. France leading easily, 13 to just 5.
Well, that was the rebound that we thought Gruda might have, but she did not get it in the end, and Pachau just took it all the way down for the layup. That was a great finish.
I mean, you said it, Jeff. You called it a little cliche, but the first 5 minutes of this third quarter was really important for Brazil, and I think they've done a good job coming out and playing with intensity.
Yeah, you got to tip your hat to them, and now they're going to try to keep the pressure up, and it's not easy to press Apupa. So the foul committed, the second foul on Brazil, excuse me, the third foul on Brazil in this quarter. Great comeback by Brazil. Can France nip it in the bud?
Ooh,
Teixeira trying to harass Bogosavljevic, and Pupa to Charteroux. Wow. That is a very important shot for Charteroux, that's for sure.
Yeah, good job finding the mismatch.
One of the players at Bourges right now is Charteroux. Gias gets the baseline, puts it up. She's tough.
And that was a big-time move from her. You know, you and I saw her knock down a couple shots from outside, but there she took the ball off the dribble. I think that was just good awareness that she could maybe beat her defender, Charteroux.
Now Gruda rims out. Good effort. Gruda gets to the ball. And Pachow then called for a foul. So Pacheco's going to come back in.
Well, I'm not sure that was much of a foul. I think she had a little bit of an argument saying, I didn't really touch her, you know. Playing the ball aggressive.
Pacheco in the game, number 10. Watch her, she's tough. Gruda, triple team. Now Pupa for three. And then Pachow, that time definitely.
That time was a foul. Absolutely.
Swinging her arms.
You know, she actually, that last foul, they gave it to De Souza, Jeff.
All right, okay.
So Pachow was involved, so good for her, because that would have been her third that she just got now, but she only has 2 fouls. But look at that. Brazil have now put France on the line. They didn't go an awful lot so far in the game, only 1 of 2.
And it's Johannes. Gonzalo in the game for Costa, number 23. And Johannes' free throws take it back up to a 6-point lead. Pacheco. Pass back to Pachow. Now Gias stepped out of bounds. That's a tough pass to make.
Good job by France defensively to put a little bit of pressure on.
I think Brazil, Pachow or Gonçalves need to penetrate, but here comes Gruda once again. They got it to within 4, and now the lead is back to 8. And look at Pupa almost coming up with a steal and almost forcing the 8-second violation. Gonçalves gets in the paint, puts it up, misses. The ball goes to Gias. She doesn't miss. She is tough.
There was no hesitation in her shot. Oh, but look at this.
Oh, the charge on Sandrine Gruda.
And that's one of those where Gruda kind of has to look at Apopa right now, and you see Apopa saying, yeah, that was my bad. She put Gruda in a situation that she was gonna travel, or what happened, even worse, she had got a charging foul, so.
So second foul, Sandrine Gruda. Sabe. So this time it's Gonzalo fouled. And Bria Hartley, who was so influential on opening night, hasn't really been so much tonight. Checks back into the game, as well as Sarah Michelle.
Yeah, Bria Hartley with almost that triple-double, on the first night. 0 points here today, 0 for 3. She does have 2 assists, 1 rebound, but surprisingly, Jeff, she has 4 turnovers.
Yeah, it's not been a good game for her. And whoa, Pacheco taking on Sarah Michelle. And you have to say, good decision, attacking the basket. And you can see why Michelle as well, not entirely happy, moving her feet on defense, maybe her arm lowered a little bit. She couldn't do much more in that situation.
Yeah.
And Pacheco, I like her. I like her for her strength, her length. And now I like her for her decision to put the ball on the deck and to go to the basket. She's tough defensively.
Yeah, she is tough defensively. She's athletic, and she's got good size to her.
So France not out of the woods yet. The lead cut back to 4 points. Gruda. This is where they don't have the answer for Gruda. Oh, they force her to pass it to Michelle. Charteroux for three. That's off to the left. Great box out by Brazil, but then they do not prevent Johannes. The ball slipped out of their hands and it fell right to Johannes.
Yeah, that's disappointing. You actually had 3 Brazilian jerseys. Look at this. There's 2 Brazilians who are fighting over the ball.
Yeah, it was Gias and Brazil's number 6. Excuse me, Brazil's number 5. Was it Montero?
I think it was.
No, sorry,
No,
it was
16.
Carolina Oliveira. I think that was probably Gias's ball. Yeah, that's a bad break, but you know what? You got to be opportunistic, and Johannes was, and she gets a 3-point play. Pacheco passes it back outside. Gias a little bit farther out than she wants to be there, and you can see it.
But no hesitation in her game.
No. Alley-oop pass, almost. Look at Siak stay with it, almost getting it back. And then Bria Hartley commits the foul on Ramona. So that's free throws for Brazil.
A great pass by Johannes. Siak kind of blew the assist there, I would say, a little bit for her.
I think Siak looks better. I think she's improved. She just...
Well, we didn't see her this past summer with France because remember she had that serious ankle injury at the end of her season with Lyon Asvel. So she actually was not back in time to play at the Eurobasket Women this summer. But she was ready to start the season, and she's had a good EuroLeague season and a good LFB season as well. Sorry, at the end of her season in Montpellier, she sprained her ankle. She just transferred to Lyon for this season.
Ramona's 2 free throws make it a 5-point game. Hartley, shot clock winding down. She might want to get rid of it. She does to Michelle for 3. And look at Siak winning the offensive rebound and scoring with a putback right on cue.
Yep.
She heard us talking about her. Offensive foul on Gias. Watch this again. If she moved, it was slightly.
Ever so slightly?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a good job by Hartley selling it a little bit.
Johannes again, scooping and hooping. She just does so much. Everything she does is with flair, with panache. Lead back to 9. Gonzalo to Carolina. Oh, I think she got away with a walk. Now Johannes goes behind her back. Hartley to the corner.
I feel like Brazil is a little out of sorts right now, and maybe a timeout would be a good idea. Oh, and then that happens. It's kind of the same play that Hartley got Diaz on.
Siak called.
You know, Siak called for a similar moving screen. We'll see it here. Again, I think it's a little exaggeration by the guard defender trying to follow over the on-ball screen. But I mean, good job.
Down the lane, Ramona swatted by Siak. But a reach and a foul called on Charteroux.
Yeah, and Charteroux's not, I think Charteroux knew that she fouled on that one. She put her hand up right away. Disappointing because she had her teammate Siak, who came over and had a two-hand block on the play. So just kind of being aware too, you know, if you get beat, know that you have a defender behind you and they're there to help you instead of reaching in and putting, you know, putting Romana on the line for 2 possible points.
Ramona,
sorry, I said Romana, didn't I? I'm mixing up the vowels. I'm putting them in my own order, I guess.
So Chartreux goes out. Chachuan back in the game. Here she is, mid-court. To Hartley. France, their lead is not dipped below 4 points. Siak, again, battling for position and getting a foul. So free throws now for Siak. Doink.
Yeah, we heard that. I was just, I mean, I guess they do have the mic behind the backboard, right? So we get, oh.
Well, she's done well tonight, but not on that trip to the line.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you know, I think, especially compared to her game the other night, I think she's been more forceful, more of a presence offensively and defensively for France.
Gonzalo. Gonzalo launches it with the hand in the face. And now the quick pass to Johannes.
I'm not sure why she didn't get back on defense, if she rolled her ankle a little bit. I'm not sure if she thought it was the end of the quarter. That was a little, an unusual.
Sorry, Michelle coming up with the steal. 2 more free throws. Defense, defense. It's all about defense. And this little sequence here at the end of the third quarter has proven real costly.
Yeah, I think it's pretty disappointing. If you're Brazil, they did a great job to begin this third quarter, and then to kind of give it up the last few minutes here. Not even minutes, it's almost like you said, a couple sequences offensively and defensively for Brazil have not gone well, and France have done a good job of taking advantage. Not a great free throw shooting night for France. I mean, they're only 4 of 7. They haven't been to the line much.
So 10-point lead, Laís da Silva. Look at Michelle, that's what she does best. She hounds people defensively. Pacheco for 3, it goes in and out.
And that would have been huge if she could have knocked that three-pointer down. But look at this hustle.
But Ramona wasn't able to come up with a steal. She just knocked it out of her hands, her possession.
There's 19 seconds left. Brazil needs to dig down and get a stop, and then maybe try and get down, score an easy, quick basket.
Rupert in the game, dumps it down low.
What a great
for the rookie.
And look at that,
and
Jeff.
The steal. Boy, they have completely fallen apart here at the end of the quarter, Brazil. Turnover on the inbounds pass. And Bria Hartley, who hasn't been at her best tonight, comes out and makes a big play.
But that's what good teams do, right? I mean, they know when to kind of step it up and take advantage of situations. Brazil not playing well the last couple minutes, and France is making them pay. Just a careless turnover. A great high-low from Rupert to Siak. That was a good. And then we have Isabel Yacobu.
Yep, she's going to be honored here in a minute. in between the third and fourth quarter. And they got it down to 4.
Yeah.
And now they've opened the 14-point lead up. And you wonder if that's just going to be about it for Brazil. They've got to hurry. The clock is the enemy here at the end of the quarter. And Pacheco gets her shot blocked by Chechuan. So the last couple of minutes, almost really a disaster for Brazil, because France open up a 14-point lead, 60-46.
And here are the stats, 52% compared to a blistering 63% for France. Neither team really shooting the 3 well, 1 of 13. Same with free throw shots. I mean, Brazil have the edge, but not by a lot.
Well, you look at the highlights, and there are a lot of good ones for Brazil, but again, you just cannot, at this level, afford to have lapses in concentration. And they had a couple of bad ones.
Yeah, you said it, Jeff. I mean, when you think momentum and everything was going in the right direction for Brazil and they were going to possibly give themselves a chance to win this game, France just found a way. They dug back. They did a much better job offensively and defensively. And it was really the last couple of minutes that they got this 14-point lead, and that's disappointing for Brazil. There's still 10 minutes left, though, and we saw them come back after half. They had that great start at the beginning of the third quarter. It's what they're going to have to do now, because there's 10 minutes left to them possibly not going to an Olympics. And I really can't imagine having an Olympics without Brazil.
Isabel Yakubu was honored as one of the most capped players in French women's basketball history in between the quarters. Fourth quarter now underway, and France leading by 14 and looking to deliver the knockout punch. Chechuan. And the lead now 16. Incredible how this has gotten away from Brazil in the last couple of minutes.
And what you have to keep in mind, you know, you say, okay, well, if Brazil doesn't make it to an Olympics, you know, they'll be back at the next one. 4 years later,
and other
people
teams
will be retiring.
And other teams are getting better as well.
Yeah. You know, we have Puerto Rico with possibly their first ever Olympic berth.
Watch this play. That's a tough call on Montero. They called her for the push.
I don't know about
she was
that.
going
Yeah.
for the ball. It's just unraveled. And it's unraveled without Gruda being on the court.
Yeah, you're right. She's a
3-second violation.
You mentioned Gruda. She's played 18 minutes for them. So she did play 6 minutes in the third quarter for them.
Yeah, she'll be back. Probably.
But
Montero.
Keep in mind, if they can keep this lead without her, they do have a game tomorrow. They have a very quick turnaround, less than 24 hours to rest, recover, and prepare for a game tomorrow. That being said, if they win tonight, they are guaranteed, right, Jeff?
They win
their ticket to Tokyo.
Yeah, France clinches a spot in the Olympics with a win tonight. Brazil, meanwhile, would have to beat Australia and hope Puerto Rico upset France. I think that would be their best chance.
And we talked about that earlier today in the first game that we got to do. You never want to leave it up to someone else. The reason you are going to an Olympics or advancing on should depend on how your team does performance-wise. You don't want to rely on other teams because you never know what might happen.
Oh, behind the back pass to Pacheco, takes the contact.
Yeah, I thought that was a foul. Chachong just a little aggressive here. Yeah.
Pacheco makes the first. And of course, Puerto Rico probably without Solomon for the rest of the tournament, so they would not have her against France. That's a huge blow. Their point guard, one of their point guards rather. So, you know, envisioning an upset of Puerto Rico and France is just hard to imagine.
Yeah.
And now the reach and the foul. They bowled over Charteroux. Brazil need a stop. They're trailing by 14. And now the block. Called on France. In fact,
Take a look at this, Rupert.
They call it. Yes, Rupert. They first gave it to De Silva. Dantas battling for position with Rupert. What a challenge. What an opportunity for Rupert. And Rupert held her own, didn't she?
She did. She stayed straight up and kind of said, you're going to have to shoot through me if you want to score, and she did a good job.
Vukosavljevic denied. Lays De Silva, cross court to Pachao. Pulls up on the break. Finally, something that looked good for Brazil.
And they got to get going, you know. You can't let time get off the clock. You got to look at attacking early and quickly. You're down 12. There is still 7 minutes and 40 seconds, so there's actually a lot of time, but you got to get defensive stops first.
Chachuan turns to the lane, then fades away. Doesn't get it. Pachao again. Montero takes it all the way and gets it to go. I thought she was perhaps playing outside her skill set, but she was able to get it to go down and to cut it back to a 10-point game. Garnier getting her veterans back up off the bench to get in the game. Niem, Gruda, and Johannes. Charteroux, that'll help her breathe easier. Lays De Silva. Dantas steps back for the three.
That's a tough shot to make.
Now Dantas is going to struggle and unsportsmanlike. They might, no, they haven't called it. I thought they might call the unsportsmanlike. Watch this. She pushed her.
I have to be honest, I'm kind of surprised it wasn't an unsportsmanlike because, like you said, Jeff, oh, you know what? It wasn't a push. We didn't see that. We saw it better on that second angle that they showed. She actually did go underneath her arm trying to reach for the ball, where the first time I actually thought it was a push in the back. It wasn't even close to that. So that was a good call by the refs.
Timeout on the court. Brazil's running out of time. 6.5 minutes remaining. They trail 65-52.
Defesa. A gente não pode deixar ela ir pra lá. Não pode deixar. Quando ela pegar a bola, fazer isso. É fazer isso pra cá. Aqui é um passe simples, um chute. É linha. Tá defendendo linha. Não deixa ela fazer isso. Aqui ela tem a cesta, ela tem o passe. Pra cá a gente tem ajuda. Fazemos no ataque isso aqui, ó. Põe a Tainá aqui, Damires. Eu quero aqui a Rafa, certo? Débora, Tati. Tainá, você vai sair, tenta passar a bola, beleza? Passa a bola, vamos ver se a gente vai colocar a bola para Damires. Beleza? Tati, você já vai abrir aqui. Beleza? Rafa, você, o que acontece? Quando eu botar a bola aqui, Débora, faz esse flare aqui pra Débora, tenta jogar o conceito. Você coloca essa bola no ponto de baixo pra Davi. Tá?
This was Chartreuse' last three-pointer. She only had 3 points before that shot. The only two players in double figures for France are Gruda and Johannes with 20 and 12 respectively. And no one has hit double digits for Brazil in scoring.
Yeah, I really thought, I mean, I'm sure Brazil and a lot of Brazilian fans also thought that Dantas had the possibility of, you know, being able to put up another double-double, but I think it shows you how good defensively this French team is.
Yeah. There she is turning in, fading back. And that shot was automatic against Puerto Rico, but not even close against France. And Pupa drives in. And France indeed are delivering the knockout blow, pushing the lead back to 16.
You know, Jeff, you and I maybe have, I want to say, criticized France a little bit. You know, they end up winning games, but they never are able to just put their foot on the gas and pull away. Tonight, they have started to do that, especially after the run that Brazil made in the first few minutes of that third quarter. I think France had a great reaction, and now it's kind of the time, I think, for them also, and for them to kind of send a message to the world, hey, we can play against some of the best, and we can show how much better that we are than they have played maybe recently. You and I saw them at Eurobasket. There you see the worry on Clarissa's face. I'm sure she would love to be out there helping her team.
Well, still time, but they got to get stops and points. 14 points the lead for France. Johannes, open. 13. 15 now. And Pacheco misses from a long way out.
Yeah, it's just getting on. Look at that. What a great pass by Popa.
And France looking like they're putting the finishing touches on a resounding win now.
And we do know with this win, France will be going to Tokyo. So I think you will be seeing some celebrate. Oh, nice pass and finish from De Souza there for Brazil. We might be seeing some big celebrations in
what
Bourges.
a pass! What a catch and what a pass by Johannes at full speed. That was quality. Enjoy the moment, folks. Watching special players, Pachau, special players do special things. De Souza almost coming up with a steal. Gruda open. Wow. It's kind of like, is it real? I mean, it's like a video game.
She is still only 32 years old. So I wouldn't consider her old. She's just been that good for so long, and she was good at a young age. I really feel like right now, what we've seen of her this past year, you're right. I think she is kind of playing more in her prime.
Well, she's played at 2 Olympics, and it looks like it's going to be a third, with France leading by 21 points. A little over 4 minutes remaining.
And you know, I wonder with this lead of 21 if Coach Garnier will maybe give the reserve players, the bench, a few more minutes and give her, you know, her veterans, her leaders, a little bit of a rest. That being said, they will have already qualified, so tomorrow's game won't have as much riding on it. But we talked about this the other day.
Points.
These games are important because they're points that add to your FIBA World Ranking, which FIBA is going to come out with a new Women's World Ranking after these tournaments.
Yep.
And those world rankings
will be the basis
will,
for...
yes, exactly, will be the seedings for the Olympics. So you want to move up, and I think France is going to move up. They're ranked 5th in the world right now with a win over #2 Australia. Okay, they're ranked higher than Brazil, but again, it's
Spain.
points and you get points. We've seen Spain lose.
Yep.
So you wonder how much further can France maybe jump in the ranking. Could they possibly go from 5th to 2nd? That would be a game changer when you're talking about possible medaling at the Olympics.
Vukosavljevic. And right now it seems more of a case of the inevitability of a French win.
Yeah.
Down 21 with just under 4 minutes to go. Brazil are really up against it. Timeout. Rebounding advantage for France.
Tá bom? Na defesa, na 11, quando a gente defende 11, e tá assim, que tem bloqueio, tem que ter troca, não podemos ficar aqui. Se elas defenderem agora lá, quase inteira, 42. Rafa, Havana, tá bom?
Dantas has really been a non-factor tonight.
But I also think, I mean, look at her fighting and look at the defense by France. They're not making anything easy. The pass into Dantas was difficult. Just the positioning for Dantas to try and get. I really think France had a great defensive game plan, specifically individually against her and as a team, and they've executed tonight.
Pass pass to Souza. It's about as easy as it's been all night for Brazil. Still down 19, but they get the turnover. And now the bounce pass. Deborah Costa trying to get it to Montero, but Epupa stuck her leg out. They don't want to be using up all 24 seconds on the shot clock, but they are.
Yeah, you know, when you're down, you need to try and score fast. I know it needs to be a good shot, but you can't waste the time.
Costa steals it again from Epupa, the second consecutive trip down the floor. Pacheco, her pass. De Souza was trying to get position and was just not able to get to the ball.
I'm just wondering if Brazil doesn't qualify, which it's going to be hard, let's be honest, but if Brazil doesn't qualify, tomorrow, the game, Brazil still has another game tomorrow. We'll see them take on Australia. Could it possibly be the last game that we see Erica de Souza play for Brazil?
Well, you wonder. Fair question. Hartley. France is kind of cruising right now, up 21 points, 2.5 minutes to go. Closing in on a third consecutive appearance at an Olympic Games. And Ramona with the basket. Funny how you've had Canada, your national team in France, have kind of had the similar trajectory at the same time. You see a foul called on De Souza, both of your teams making it to 3 consecutive, kind of rising back up, and I'm guessing France probably with that silver medal and also getting to the semifinals.
Yeah.
You guys got to the
quarters, quarters in the last two, so. We lost to France. We lost to the U.S. in London 2012 in the quarters, and then we lost to France in the quarterfinals.
And you thought you had France.
Yeah. And speaking of that, you know, I think unless a miracle happens, France is going to win this game, so they are going to book their ticket. And then just speaking of other teams, Canada are up right now on Sweden, and with that win, they will also qualify. Who else have we seen? We saw China today.
We already know Japan and USA will be there. China won for the second time.
So they have qualified.
Yeah.
So there have been a few teams who I don't think they'll be celebrating because they all have a game tomorrow, but they will be breathing a sigh of relief.
Yep.
And know that they have accomplished what they came here to do, wherever they are, whatever city they are in.
I think also, you know, the idea that in this tournament, for example, you've got 4 teams and 3 teams qualify, and you know, some people are like, well, why do 3 teams qualify? But it's actually been a little trickier for the likes of Australia and obviously Brazil and Puerto Rico. I mean, it's been wide open. It's been more wide open. Spain as well losing. So it hasn't been quite as straightforward, I think, as a lot of people anticipated. And, you know, the reason why they made the change, they had the pre-qualifiers to come in, one of the big reasons was the desire to have more games for national teams.
Yep.
And this is a perfect example that.
And clearly, people want to see it.
Yeah. They're singing the national anthem. Pacheco rattles in the 3-pointer. It's going to be too little, too late. Montero knocked it away. Look at that. Johannes just, she just has to do everything with a little bit of style. Look at that.
That was, we could easily say, a touchdown pass. I mean, the accuracy. Andy Miam, all she had to do was clap her hands and the ball was going to be in it. Fans have been on their feet, I would say, for the last minute already. There's still 1:07 left to go. They know what's on the line.
Fotu has come into the game, number 4, and Rupert.
The 2 youngins on this French team.
Yep,
you and I saw them in at the under-19 a couple of years ago, and we were impressed.
And here they are, about to go help their team get to the Olympics. I mean, I'm guessing that obviously their spots might not be secure in the Olympics.
No, yeah, you know, it's. We talked about this. No spot is really secure. I would have to say how Gruda has performed here so far. There you see the shooting percentages.
Fotu is 19 and Rupert is 18.
Yeah,
But that being said, having watched Rupert play defense on, was it Dantas? She did not look out of place at all.
I agree with you, but you know, keep in mind, Jeff, she also plays for Bourges, so she's going up against the likes of Isa Yakubu. She's been injured the last couple months, but Elodie Godin. She's surrounded by players who know what it takes to be at an Olympics. So she's learning from them on a daily basis in practice. She's also playing in EuroLeague, so she's going up against women who are playing in the, have been to Olympics.
Yeah, she's playing against American players that in the USA.
Yes, yes.
Or the Spanish women's
Exactly,
team.
so, I mean, she has guarded an MMS-man, MVP of the WNBA Finals this past summer. You know, the star with ECAT, obviously the heart and soul of the Belgian team, Belgium national team. So what I'm saying is, yeah, she's still young, she's only 18, but the experience that she already has,
yeah,
in my opinion, shows in her performance.
Yeah, you're right. Pacheco bumped as she gets into the lane. And really it is the case of you name the song and they're going to sing it right now.
I think the celebration has started already.
Their team is on the way to Tokyo.
And you see them kind of celebrating, hugging each other on the bench, encouraging the fans to dance. Even Joanna's is right in front of us, Jeff. She doesn't show a lot of emotion, but I saw a small smile from her.
A wry smile, a satisfaction smile.
A little grin.
Grinning like a Cheshire cat. Pacheco for three. Makes the scoreline look a little bit better for Brazil, 87-71. And Johannes throws it out of bounds this time. And Fotu playing with a big smile on her face. Defense. She's just happy to be out there and to be a part of this.
We did see her get a few minutes the other day in the first half.
Gonzalo fouled.
I feel like the French are just trying to prolong this celebration by their fans.
How great is it, though, that you've got the daughters? I kind of think of Kobe Bryant. Yeah, how wonderful is it for, like, Rupert to be the daughter of a former player, professional, and also Fotu.
And Rupert's father passed away as well.
So,
smiling
from heaven.
That's what, whatever she believes in, I'm sure she knows her dad somewhere is very proud of her.
So Fotu crosses midcourt, and they're going to run a play. Rupert sets the pick, the foul. So Rupert, I think, is going to go to the line. No, they're going to say it was Fotu who was fouled. I think she's just too happy. Unlike these girls, they know that a chance to go to the Olympics is kind of slipping away, although they still have a little bit of hope. Rupert says, if you're not going to score, I will. And then Siak says, no, I'll take care of it. And Fotu gets the block right at the end. France have accomplished the mission they needed only 2 games, and they've beaten a couple of traditional heavyweights in Australia and now Brazil. The party is on in Bourges. France are going to the Olympics. They win it 89-72. Well, just take it in because you can see how crucial it is, and they will be presented with a giant ticket to Tokyo here, just to kind of underline the accomplishment. And I think everybody expected them to get there, but after watching Puerto Rico upset Brazil, you just never really knew 100% how this was going to go. So here they are with their ticket to the Olympics.
And really, you know, Jeff, I felt against Australia, they were always in control. They didn't put them away, but they were always in control. And you felt that again tonight. I thought Brazil, you know, did a good job at moments coming back. We saw it a little bit during the second, but they just didn't have enough to really make the comeback. You know, they had a great start to the third quarter, and then just a few possessions, they played badly offensive and defensively, and they really paid for it.
They got it. They got it to within 4 points, and they couldn't get any closer. And France have indeed qualified for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Quite possibly the most impressive team in all of the qualifying games. Jean-Pierre Swiatot hugging and kissing Valérie Garnier, the head coach. Swiatot, the French Basketball Federation president. And it is one big family, really. And you can see as they set out to achieve those aims, you know, it doesn't happen by accident.
No, you know, yeah, you have to give the credit to the 12 women that were involved. Also the alternates who you know, were there training. There you see the shooting percentages. I mean, no surprise. Really, 3 of 20, 15% compared to 36% from three-point range for France. Rebounds, they out-rebounded them by 13. Look at the assist, 11 to 23. France did a great job of sharing the ball, finding the open person.
And I think, you know, as you look at the leading scorers, Gruda with 26, clearly the MVP of France's campaign here. And you look at these fans, I mean, this is kind of like showing you how it's supposed to be done. France, great federation, great domestic league. You know, the girls have a chance to grow up and play in this country. You know, they really emphasize the domestic league here at Bourges. You know, where you coach at Basket Lawn, you know, all over the place. Montpellier, you know, they've got a place to play. And, you know, the hard work, it pays off. And the Federation is there to support them. And they host. They host this event. Not just to host it so they can get a shot to go to the Olympics. They host it because, look, because of this. All of the fans.
And, you know, I was talking about you got to give credit to the players, but there's so many people behind the scenes that don't get given credit. The whole coaching staff, the physios, the doctors, the trainers, the, you know, strength and conditioning coaches, and then also the federation to invest year in and year out in basketball, the same as on the men's side, as the women's side. You know, they, as a federation, they really invest and they believe in their teams, and that makes a difference.
Well, the French team doing their lap of honor. They're doing the lap of honor and having a great time. So it's nice to be here to witness it. Obviously, if you're a Brazilian fan, it's not quite so nice.
No. Obviously, you know, I think it was a very difficult tournament for Brazil. They were missing a couple of key players, I think, and I think it showed. They still, you know, I think Brazil needs to maybe sit down this summer and figure out what they need to do to get their country back on the right track, because Brazil was was a team that every tournament they went to, the Worlds, the Olympics, the World Cup, or the Olympics, you thought they had a chance of medaling, and we haven't seen that in quite a few major tournaments, Jeff.
But how great must it be to have one of the best women's teams in the world, one of the best men's teams in the world. It's another night, another great celebration for France, and it's just continuous. Yeah, I remember back in 2007, it wasn't this way. You know, it hasn't happened by accident.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of hard work has gone in from that point on. I mean, since that point, since 2007, France has been at the party. So Valerie Garnier has come out to say thanks to the crowd. So Valerie Garnier is saying thank you to the crowd. So here are the standings. France will go into the final day on top at 2-0. Australia and Puerto Rico are 1-1, and Brazil at 0-2. And again, France did not play at the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, but since that point, they've been at all the parties. Here were the results. Australia winning it by 26, and France winning tonight 89-72. So as Indy Miem addresses the crowd, we say thanks for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks again.
Il reste encore un match demain, même si le plus important a été fait ce soir. Il reste encore un match.